Thank you guys for being here today. First of all, I just want to say that I thought the judge did an outstanding job on this case. He inherited this case after COVID years, and this case has been delayed so many times by all kind of different reasons, a lot on the defendant's part, but he was steady throughout. He granted the continuances when he needed to, and it was in the long run, some that we may have disagreed with, but in the long run was the right thing to do to make sure that we had a proper verdict and the verdict that always stayed. I want to give our condolences out to our friend from Iran who came here and lost her life. That should never have happened, particularly in Baton Rouge, but it did. And then secondly, Todd Morris, Sheriff Sid Gotro, Detective Nicholson, these guys did a fabulous job, which is a routine job for them. They focused on this case and let the evidence drive them where it went. And as you could hear from the evidence, that took 8 years to develop, so you could hear, they were looking at one suspect first, who's a gentleman here. And they exhausted all of that because it's a likely one to look at. They exhausted that and they said, this man is completely innocent. And then they let the evidence continue to dictate. They didn't stop. They continued with cell phone coverage and just did an exhaustive amount of work, which is typical of the sheriff's, detectives, and all other police agencies that are here. Our hats off are to them, the crime lab, cell phone digital work, and then to the team. He had an outstanding defense lawyer. This guy has worked very, very hard. But for us, I have the best assistant DAs in the world. I have the best team in the world back here. Dana is one of the best in the country, and I'll put Dana up with her effort and her charisma and what she brings to this. You have to have passionate comprehension and all to do this job. She has it, she brings it, she teaches it to the others. And for the young ladies and the posse that she had with her working on this day in and day out, this took so long to put together and to present to this jury. Then lastly, but really not lastly, this jury, we just had a chance to speak with them briefly. These guys really worked their tails off, paid attention. You saw that they asked for questions at the end. They looked at the evidence as Dana suggested and as the defense lawyer suggested, and they brought it all back. And at the end, there was no reasonable doubt. That doubt of reason was removed from him, that cloak was removed, and they did the right thing, although maybe painful. So, this is a win for our community. It's a win for justice. It's a shame that it happened. And I just want to congratulate this team and all the law enforcement agencies for working on this case so hard.
Dana, there was a lot of moving parts in this case. So what was it like being on this case, and what do you make of the results today?
I'm very grateful for the results today. It was a hard case. It went on for years, and there were a lot of moving parts. But the police work was just amazing. The detective work was amazing. There were a lot of delays that were due strictly to the defendant maneuvering, not his attorneys, but him. Firing an attorney, suing an attorney, that type of thing. So there was a lot of that. It got a little frustrating, and we did lose a witness. We lost Tyler Ashpaw in jail, and that was frustrating too. It was, we needed to get this case tried. We needed to put our witnesses up there while we still had a case that was viable, and so that's what we were pushing for. And thank goodness that Judge Smith allowed us to do that and helped us get this case to trial, because it was really past due. And the victim's family, they went on for 8 years like this, and went on for 8 years. The victim's son went on for 8 years being blamed by his father for this. The lead detective did an incredible amount of work on this case and did a great job, but by the same token, he had gotten attacked way back, and he took any kind of setback very personally. So he felt he did so much. There were so many personal people that were impacted by this. And I think everybody put their heart and soul into it. My team is amazing. I certainly couldn't do it without my team, and I really appreciate them. The support of Hiller Moore was amazing throughout. We're just very grateful that we had a jury that was open-minded from all walks of life and came to the right decision in this case.
Dana, you negotiated with Daniel Richter. Originally, he was going to testify and get a later sentence of 50 years. And then he said, never mind, I don't want to do it until I get imagine that that was a kind of a discussion that y'all had to make and weigh out whether or not that was worth reducing that sentence or making that deal. Do you feel it was worth it? Do you feel that it was fair?
Absolutely. And maybe some people say I'm a little harsh sometimes. So 50 years to me was absolutely fair in the beginning. But then Tyler Ashpaw died, and he was our witness. And he was the one that had actually given the statement in the beginning and had been cooperative, and he was a good witness, and all of a sudden he was gone. So I was in the position of, you have to decide if you're going to make a deal that Daniel Richter can live with, because he never said he wasn't telling the truth. All he said was, that's not good enough. And honestly, 50 years is high. It is high, but I felt it was appropriate at the time. Times have changed a little bit, and then we lost our witness, and I could live with that. Because I think that Hamid Ghassemi is the one that put all of this in motion. Hamid Ghassemi is the one that caused the death of Tahira. Nobody else would have been involved in this, and I think he groomed Daniel and got him in the position to do this.
I really think that one of the issues that we talked about is that we don't get to pick and choose our witnesses. This defendant convicted today chose the people that he used in this crime, and that's who we had to deal with. And it's unfortunate, but that's where we are. And we would not call a witness that we did not think would tell the truth. And I think that we prevailed on that and was absolutely the right decision to make.